Now that Mandalorian Season 3 is over, we've got a lot to talk about. One, what the heck is going to happen now that the Darksaber has been destroyed? Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. Let's jump in.
Hand over the Darksaber, and I'll give you a wanted step.
I think the biggest thing, all the twists and turns aside and the weird pacing throughout the whole season, the biggest surprise of the entire thing was how nonchalantly they destroyed the Darksaber.
It's true, and I feel like no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it was so, like, just in passing.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, ever since we've watched it, we were like, man, we need to talk about this on the podcast. And I figured there'd be like a crap ton of videos on it, but I haven't seen that many on exactly what this means for the Mandalorians, and that's what we want to break down today. I think the Mandalorians are in a really strange spot right now.
They sure are. But what are you thinking?
It's strange. I think they really, in the beginning of the season, and as we got more into the different factions, they really were like, oh my goodness, there's going to be some fights, things are going to happen. And besides the chess thing, there wasn't anything really. Like I expected more of that friction as they came together to fight for Mandalore, considering that the Children of the Watch weren't around that at all. They were on their little side planet.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, no one's talking about this. Interesting that the Mandalorians are completely like, we're fine.
It's fine, guys.
Good. It's all good.
I know the entire past 2 seasons and most of this season revolved around like this hallowed object of the Darksaber. And that was the whole reason that Bo-Katan's group left her. And now they're like, it's fine.
We're good. She's cool.
Okay.
Not sure how I feel about all that.
What do you think is going to happen as like they start to develop more on Mandalore? Like, what is that going to look like? Do you feel like we've gotten past the whole thing with the Mandalorians, which is the factions and them breaking apart and like really attacking each other? Like,
absolutely not.
I don't think so, because that's like part of their religion.
Yeah, we've seen them bond over the retaking of Mandalore, but it wasn't strong enough for me to think, oh, they're good now. Like, absolutely not. There was definitely, I mean, there's still helmets versus no helmets, or like people who will take their helmets off and not. There's still fundamental, I want to say like covenants almost that these different factions are upholding in their own systems. And even though they can all sort of agree with like the older-ish ways of like pretty much the baptism in the waters of the caves.
Now everyone could just be like, I'm going to take my helmet off. Oh no. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go swimming with the mythosaur.
It's true. It's like, okay, so everyone's going to have a conniption or some kind of, everyone's got to rethink how they've been living their lives because you're back on Mandalore. You're back in the place where all these holy things and
there's no infrastructure there. It's just a bunch of like fallen ruins.
So it's like we can use this religion almost as a base for rekindling everything, or we could just start off fresh because we really don't have a whole lot going on here.
I kind of wish they went more in the direction of starting it new, because I felt like that's the direction that they were originally going with Din Djarin and taking his mask off, and then Bo-Katan, and they were really leading into the whole thing of like, we need to start anew. Like, that's why I felt so frustrated with how dependent they were around like the Darksaber as this mythical thing, and that Bo-Katan brought it back. Like, I kind of wanted Din Djarin to be the person to really take the Darksaber and really like own that. Obviously, it was really cool seeing Bo-Katan wield it again after all that we see in Rebels and the Clone Wars and all that stuff. Like, I like that, but I kind of wish that she earned back the title of like ruler of Mandalore, not from that. And really was able to show, hey, we don't need this. We don't need these things that have divided our people for centuries. We can make this new group and this new order, this new Mandalore without any of it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like they did not spend enough time with the Mandalorians. And that sounds really weird.
From a show called The Mandalorian?
Called The Mandalorian. Yeah, no, I feel like we missed out on a big opportunity to almost like see them attempt civilization together. Whether it was on Navarro, which we kind of saw, but it wasn't much that we saw.
They
honestly,
tried.
They tried. But I almost wanted to see them try something on Mandalore instead of getting caught up right away in the action of like, we have to defeat everything. Like, it would have been cool to see them like
it went
actually...
from, this is our home now, to, wait, let's go back to our old place.
Right. Like, I don't know. We needed more time with the Mandalorians to really understand what it is that they are coming to understand within each other, like within I don't know, I haven't seen any Mandalorian growth, and I really just wanted maybe some slower moments with the Mandalorians trying to get to know each other, trying to figure things out, maybe seeing this Darksaber in action, maybe seeing that they do respect her more with this Darksaber. And then it would have made the payoff of him breaking it a lot more. Like, it would have been like,
because it felt like she just got it, and it's like, well, okay.
And then it was broken, and then it's like, okay, cool. I guess we're all okay with that, and we'll just light the forge anyway, and it'll be great.
I think it's a good choice, but I think it wasn't really earned. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, well, I think this should happen because it makes it interesting, but we don't really like know why they should happen or like what the real repercussion of it's going to be. So I think that was the thing that really we missed in this season. And like, that's not to say like I enjoyed the season, like I had a fun time, but I think there was a lot of those things that just made it a little weird, and that was one of them, because I felt like that should have held more weight. And I think we were like, oh, whoa, that like we as viewers were like, oh my gosh. But it didn't really pay off in the story because we don't see any of that come later on when they do reclaim Mandalore. And maybe the mythosaur is going to be the new thing, like
the new trinket.
Kind of. So in terms of like Legends content, there was a mask that Tarre Vizsla, I think. He was the original Mandalorian Jedi dude. He had a mask, and that was the thing. Like, if you had the mask, that was your rulership through the Legends. And then in canon, that switched to his Darksaber because it was a very unique object. But in Legends, it was his mask. So I think Mandalorians are definitely made to have like whatever the symbol of rulership is. I think that's going to be the mythosaur, and we may see Bo-Katan's story. Maybe not in season 4, because season 4 seems more of like Din's story again, which I love.
Yeah, and that's what we're all here for.
He is the Mandalorian. But the Mandalorian also is a multi-purpose term, and we see a lot of that in season 3. But I think we need to see a little bit more of that tightening here. But I think it's going to be a very interesting way forward for the Mandalorians. I don't think this is the last we'll see of the Darksaber, or at least it mentioned. I could totally see it being remade in a new way or brought back into the fold in different ways.
I have a feeling that what they were doing with the chanting and the lighting of the forge and all that, and the baptism, that looked like everyone got like rebaptized, because like even Din looked wet, so I was like, okay, interesting. I don't know. I think what they were trying to say is that they were all okay with it, that they're all gonna be fine without the Darksaber, because now they have
Mandalore.
They have Mandalore, and they have the forge, and they have other things, really. But it wasn't a very good statement. Like, it was still just kind of...
It was kind of half-earned. Like, it's a good effort, but I don't feel like...
I'm not convinced.
Not convinced yet. From what we know of the past of the Mandalorians, I'm not convinced that that's all it's going to take for them to find this new strength and this new core and this new leadership in Bo-Katan.
Right.
Because Bo-Katan is the prime example of this. Her freaking sister was ruler of Mandalore, and she usurped her and threw the whole freaking planet into chaos over the Darksaber. So, kind of hypocritical to expect everything to be all nice and hunky-dory now that you're in charge of finally. But I think there's a lot of character growth there. We'll see if we even see Bo-Katan in the next season, or if they're looking at what they want to do next. I think it's fun, but let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and hey, check out our podcast. As always, may the Force be with you.